Welcome to Live Ball, presented by Harper Volkswagen. Here are your hosts, Paige Dauer and Todd Kelly Jr.
Good morning. It's so exciting to know that Tennessee football is back inside Neyland Stadium tomorrow. The bye week has come and gone, and it's a chance to really show what they've been working on since last week, 2 weeks now, to prepare for the Arkansas Razorbacks, which is always a intriguing matchup. Arkansas seems to always give Tennessee its best shot, and is this the year that Tennessee finally gets back in the win column? And now they have Bobby Petrino for Arkansas now back at the interim head coach spot, and that makes this matchup all sorts of interesting. We have so much to get into today. Paige Dauer alongside VFL Todd Kelly Jr. It was his birthday yesterday, so happy belated birthday.
Thank you. An entire new decade, so embracing my 30s, and hopefully I will be thriving in them.
Yes, and then we could all wait for your advice on how the 30s go. When we looked at this team, and obviously you had a couple of matchups against the Arkansas Razorbacks, you know, just from what you've been able to see, it just seems like every time Tennessee and Arkansas play, like, that is the game that Arkansas plays its best. Why do you think that is? It
is, yeah. Arkansas always gives us their best shot, and they slow the game down. And when I was playing, we lost to Arkansas in Neyland Stadium. But what you've seen in times past is they slow the game down. They try to minimize the possessions that Tennessee has on the offensive end. And most of the time it's a low-scoring game. I'm not expecting that this year, just because of the explosiveness of our offense and how Joey Aguilar, puts the ball out there to, multiple receivers. But ultimately they slow the game down. They run the ball. They're physical. I mean, you think of a Razorback, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they get down and dirty and just try to slow the game down, and so that's gone in their favor multiple times. They got a winning streak against us, 4 games, I believe it is, and I think we'll break that on Saturday.
Yeah, and what's interesting, too, about the matchup, and I know a moment ago we mentioned Bobby Petrino. He was once the head coach at Arkansas, and really that was the last time that program was at the height of what it was doing. Like, it was a winning program at that time, and now it feels with Bobby Petrino back after Sam Pittman was fired after the Notre Dame game. He's made all these defensive changes, but what makes it intriguing for him when you've got a team that maybe it's just going to throw the kitchen sink at you? That's a phrase I've been seeing going around, and it seems they might not have anything to lose in this game, so they're going to give you the best shot.
Yeah, it's a dangerous team to play, Paige. They got a dual-threat quarterback, a running back that's been kind of running his mouth a little bit about he's going to run all over the defense with all the holes in the defense. They're coming off of a bye week. I mean, everything's kind of in their favor based on the fact they have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And when you play a team, they're on the road, they know they're underdogs, they understand what that streak looks like on their side. They're going to throw everything at us. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at us, and we have to respond. Absolutely,
and we'll definitely talk about that more later in the show, too, especially when we bring in one of Arkansas's beat reporters who really knows, the changes of that team.
Sure.
But I think where Tennessee absolutely needs to continue to impress, and it's the way that they have all season long. It's one with Joey Aguilar and his ability to get it downfield, but it's also his ability to spread the wealth, getting the tight ends involved, getting Sar Thomas and Deshaun Bishop involved. How important will that aspect be to maybe capitalizing on some weak spots in Arkansas's defense?
It's paramount. Right now, they're game planning for Chris Brazzell Jr. Braylon Staley and Mike Matthews, this is going to be a huge game for them to where they step up as, not that primary receiver. But then also you mentioned it, Miles Kitselman, Ethan Davis, Star Thomas out of the backfield, and Deshaun as well. He's had multiple times where he's had opportunities to catch swing passes and make plays, and he's dropped the ball. So he's got to step up in that regard. But, whether you're a running back or a tight end or, a flex kind of tight end spot, this is a time where you can find holes in the defense. And Joey is so dynamic that he's willing to spread the wealth, and that's what makes him a high-caliber quarterback. So it's going to be paramount this game to get the ball to multiple receivers other than Chris Brazzell.
Yeah, and do you think because of that, having Joey Aguilar in at quarterback makes this game different than maybe it was last year when they weren't able to connect, kind of even in those intermediate passes? Like, is Joey Aguilar the difference?
Well, I hope Joey Aguilar doesn't run out of bounds on 4th down. That's for sure.
At the end of the game, yeah.
But, no, I think Joey's mature. He's played in games like this before. This is a lower-tiered game, I would call it, than the Georgia game, to where you saw he started off fast, but then our offense kind of took the foot off the gas pedal. So I think this is a game where it should be high scoring on our offensive side, and Joey should put up big numbers. And Arkansas is not as talented of a defense as a Georgia defense. So I expect us to score early and often this game.
I think what will remain the same, though, for Arkansas is that they've got their quarterback in Taylen Green, and they've got Mike Washington, who you mentioned a moment ago, talking a little smack before the game, that they're going to run it a lot. And that's where Tennessee has struggled this season time and time again. They've had flashes, but I think I'm still most concerned about Tennessee's inability to prove that they have been able to stop the ground game. And I think that kind of goes to, like, the character of the defense. Like, you want to win it in the trenches. You want to win it on the ground, and Tennessee's not done that. How do you get over that hump?
That's a great question. I think they've worked a lot during this bye week on stopping the run. You know, we're leading the SEC in, you know, sacks, and we're up there in pass breakups and getting our hands on the ball in the, you know, exterior. But when it comes to the run game, that's kind of our Achilles heel. And so make no mistake about it, Arkansas is coming in, and they're going to pound the ball. They're going to focus on their rushing attack. They'll probably get Taylen Green more involved in, you know, the running game. He's fourth in the SEC in rushing. So, you know, he's really, really talented on all accord, can throw the ball but can also run. So I expect to see a lot of RPO that they're doing as well as play action. But we've got to stop the run. It starts up front, starts in the interior, you know, the interior D-line, and then our linebackers, you know, playing on their toes this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good way to tee up what we have coming up next with our key matchups, the squeeze, and we'll have much more from Arkansas's beat writer to go a little bit inside the lines for the Razorbacks. We'll be right back.
Your business can't afford the downtime that comes with a leaky roof. So whether you need a repair or a replacement, count on the professionals from McGuire Roofing and Construction. Your protection is our passion. We service and sell all types of roofs and have worked with some of East Tennessee's most recognized names. We have 25 years of experience and free inspection estimates, plus best in business warranties. Put an end to your roofing problems today by calling McGuire Roofing and Construction.
Welcome to Live Ball, presented by Harper Volkswagen. Here are your hosts, Paige Dauer and Todd Kelly Jr.
Welcome back into Live Ball. Paige Dauer, VFL Todd Kelly Jr. This is interesting because, one, last week we weren't able to do key matchups. Tennessee was on a bye week. They now have 2 weeks, similar to Arkansas, to prepare for this matchup. And I think for Tennessee to continue to prove that they're a college football playoff team, they can be one of those, you know, top 10 teams or top 12 teams. I feel like this is the game that happens, where you really end up proving who you are, what you're capable of, and especially when you have teams like Alabama and Oklahoma still coming down the gauntlet, you still have to look at Taylen Green and Arkansas's rush attack. Their strengths are where Tennessee's weaknesses have been this season. Tennessee has not proven that they can stop the run. They've kind of been bullied in that sense, and I don't think, you know, as a defensive lineman, you probably want to get out physicaled in that regard. What stands out to you about what makes Taylen Green so effective?
Taylen Green doesn't go down based on arm tackles, and what we've seen a lot this season is, you know, we've given up a lot of rushing yards because of arm tackles. You've got to run through a player. You've got to, you know, put your shoulder in his chest and run through, you know, run your feet and bring him down. And, you know, Taylen Green is long. He's strong. He came in as like this, you know, skinny, elusive quarterback, but now he's added strength to his, you know, his repertoire. And so because of that, he's elusive, he's strong, he's not really willing to go down. He's not the typical quarterback that's just going to slide. He's going to get what he gets, and you mentioned, what does he have to lose? Arkansas has everything to gain in this game, so he's going to be putting his head down and try to run you over. So he's a dangerous quarterback, a quarterback that you can scheme for. You can make you can have perfect coverage back there, perfect pass rush, and then he gets away with the rush or something like that. So he's a dangerous quarterback that in times like this, you just got to keep him corralled.
I think what makes him most dangerous, too, is obviously what they do schematically, and they do so much off deception, whether it is read options, RPOs. It's just they want the defense to bite early, and then he'll take it, he'll run it. You saw that against Ole Miss. He did that time and time again against Notre Dame, but the Irish got timely stops. What is it about the way that they disguise their plays that makes it so difficult to really, like, execute on eye discipline.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's eye discipline. That's what it comes down to. And when you've got 11 defensive guys working on one accord and one person makes a mistake of looking at their wrong assignment or, losing track of what they were supposed to follow, that makes or breaks the game. And Taylen Green will make you pay. He's a quarterback that if he sees a hole on an RPO, he's going to tuck it, run, and if he sees a gap, he can go for 75 yards. A lot of NCAA quarterbacks, Division I quarterbacks can't do that, but he'll make you pay. And so I would expect for us to have a spy on him a lot this game. I'm praying that Arion Carter did all the magical, healing he can do in the bye week to come back and respond like he did against Mississippi State for this Arkansas game. And I expect them to have a big game again this week.
It seems that Mississippi State might have been the blueprint for Tennessee, especially when you consider the dual threat quarterbacks. Yeah. Obviously, for the Bulldogs, it was Blake Shapen. How difficult is it, though, when you really do have to have 11 hats on 11 hats? You have to have somebody spying on the quarterback, and maybe those opportunities to double team or bring support, you can't do that as much because of what the quarterback can do on the ground as well.
Yeah, I think this week you've got to put pressure on Taylen Green. You have to. Coach Banks needs to have some blitzes dialed up, keep him second guessing, because once you have the quarterback, and make no mistake about it, you're playing in Neyland Stadium.
Yeah.
So the communication is going to be fairly off on the offense, and you've got to dial up the pressure, dial it up on multiple accords, whether it's, safety blitz or, star blitzes or bringing the linebackers, a fan blitz down the A-gaps. Whatever it is, you got to make sure that you're coming at Taylen Green 24/7.
Yeah. I think the next matchup that we can really look at is the weak pass defense from Arkansas. They have elite players on Arkansas, but I think together they aren't able to really maximize on talent that they have, like in Julian Neal, who's, one of the leaders in pass breakups, interceptions. He's really able to do a lot, especially like out on the boundary. So is that a chance for Tennessee to take advantage of a weak pass defense and really see where Joey Aguilar has improved with his footwork and his accuracy? Or how do you see that matchup kind of evolving?
Yeah, the Arkansas defense is not very good. Let's just be real about it, specifically their defensive backfield. And I think we're going to take advantage of that. I mean, statistics show that, hey, Joey and Chris Brazzell, that connection, I mean, it's one of a kind. I think, like I mentioned earlier, we'll get our other receivers involved. But you got to spread it out. I think Joey has to spread the wealth this week. The game plan is they're going to know where number 17 is at all times.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, whether it's, running RPOs on our side or maybe getting Joey out to, rolling out, sprinting out and, having multiple options, option 1, option 2, option 3 or tuck the ball. He's going to have multiple routes to go to and multiple receivers in this game. But I really, really expect us to do well in the pass game and to air it out extremely well.
I think so too. And when we kind of look at the stats as well, like the Arkansas pass defense is 113th in the country. They're giving up more than 250 yards a game. I think this actually, I know you mentioned Chris Brazzell, but maybe this is the game where we see a lot in the slot from Braylon Staley. I know he's really been working on his physical strength because there's a ton of contact in that position and all the traffic you have to fight through. Are you hoping that this is the game that Braylon Staley kind of breaks out?
I do. I like Braylon too, because even when he's not getting the ball right, he's working. He's blocking in the slot, which is huge. You see a lot of these breakaway runs, and you don't look at what the receivers are doing, but they're stalk blocking, which is essential to breaking those long, explosive runs. But, yeah, I do see Braylon having a fantastic game. Braylon is someone that he's going to run his routes very well. A lot of people had this question, how can we get Boo Carter on offense? Well, I don't want to take time away from Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley, or Chris Brazzell. And Braylon Staley's a great route runner. Yeah. So when you watch him run those routes in the slot, there's a reason why he's successful. And hopefully it is a breakout game. He's open more times than not, and he's just not getting the ball. But I think, tomorrow's going to be a good time where he can show what he's made of.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get into our squeeze for this week.
I'm VFL Chris Brown. Experience the VW brand proudly being produced in the great state of Tennessee. Harper Volkswagen is a proud partner.
We had a profile on that on Wednesday over on our YouTube channel. He wants to be a first-round name in the NFL draft. A lot of that for him is going to have to be development or continual development in his pass rush, and no better time to do that than against one of the more elite dual-threat quarterbacks in the country in Taylen Green. how important is this game? I think when you're looking to build your NFL draft stock, is it to have success against a quarterback like this?
It's great. It's a great game to turn in your film, right? Hey, what did I do? The eye in the sky doesn't lie. And with a quarterback like Taylen Green, he's going to make plays that other quarterbacks don't, which means extending plays. But when you extend plays as a quarterback, that means that as an edge rusher, hey, are you going 10,000 miles per hour and not giving up on a play? This is a game where you might be pass rushing for 6 or 7 seconds and end up with a sack.
Yeah.
So this is the time for Joshua Josephs to show his strength, show his speed off of the edge, but then also get a sack or two to add to his statistics to hopefully go, first or second round in the spring.
Yeah, and he's already among the SEC leaders in sacks. He has 4 on the year, so 4 through 5. How important is it not only to maybe get the sacks, but especially to have like that edge containment? You mentioned Mike Matthews earlier.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be really busy this game, I feel.
Yeah, you've got to contain the edge, and he's got to show up in the run game too. When he was on the opposite side of James Pierce last year, a lot of people had basically criticisms about James Pierce. He's a great edge rusher, but he's not showing up in the run game. So I think Joshua Josephs, he can do a great job of coming off the edge, but the other side of showing up on film is stopping the run. So I think containing the edge, setting the edge, and making sure that, hey, if Taylen Green tries to make a move outside, that he's shutting it down.
Yeah, can't have any plays that get extended or maximizing on those broken assignments as well. For you, when we turn your attention to like your squeeze this week, it's somebody we've not really seen much this season.
Yeah, so this is going to be one that I really, really sat back on and thought, hey, who can make a difference and who has been waiting to make a difference, and that's David Hobbs, defensive tackle, interior defensive lineman number 5. So I actually was at the practice when he went down and got injured and looked pretty bad, and I just saw how frustrated he was because he was getting reps and getting opportunities and making plays. And I know what it's like sitting on the sidelines and just wanting to be out there and cheering your teammates on, but he's finally gotten himself healthy and in the position to make a difference. And we're missing someone up front that can make that difference. And you talk about depth and, rotating. Coach G loves to rotate his D-line. So I think that this finally gets us to a spot where I feel comfortable in our defensive line and stopping the run. So I think we should see a big difference this week. And a lot is going to have to do with David Hobbs. He's a 5-star recruit, playmaker, and he's been working. And in this program, he's been getting strong and, working on his physique. But this is his time. He's been waiting. The moment is his in Neyland Stadium, and I'm looking forward to seeing number 5 play and shutting down that run.
Yeah, it seems like this is going to be a battle in the trenches.
100%.
Yeah. When
a running back is talking smack in a different state, saying he's going to come to your stadium and have fun, and there's holes in your defense, you got to pick either. Does that make
you want to suit up?
Slightly. Yeah, that's just hearing that's bulletin board material.
Yeah.
And as if you needed anything else, you're coming off of a bye week, you're ready to hit somebody else in another jersey.
The voice of the Vols, said that the team has heard that Mike Washington has said that.
Yeah.
So it really is bulletin material.
Oh, yeah. It's when things like that happen, I mean, the managers put stuff in your lockers, and as if you need more juice to get going. You've been waiting for 13 days now to play somebody else. So I'm excited to see what we do. I think it's going to be a physical game. But when we do give up a big play, because that happens, how are we going to respond next? I think that's the biggest thing this week.
Did they put anything in your locker?
Oh, yes, but that's unsolicited.
Another day.
We'll talk offline about that.
I was wondering how's the bulletin material get to you. All right, coming up, maybe some of the other bulletin material. The spread is starting to favor the Arkansas Razorbacks. We'll talk about that when we come right back.
I'm VFL Chris Brown. Experience the VW brand proudly being produced in the great state of Tennessee. Harper Volkswagen is a proud partner of Tennessee Athletics. Go Vols.
Welcome to Live Ball, presented by Harper Volkswagen. Here are your hosts, Paige Dauer and Todd Kelly Jr.
Welcome back into Live Ball. Paige Dauer alongside VFL Todd Kelly Jr. We mentioned the spread is starting to favor the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's moving closer and closer to less than a 2-possession game. Right now it's 12.5 according to VIP Play, which is a sports betting book here in town. The spread is 12.5. So are you going to buy or sell that Tennessee at least covers that spread, currently favored at 12.5?
I'm going to buy that we cover. I think we can win by 2 touchdowns. I think it's at home. We've been preparing. You look at the Mississippi State game on the road. It's hard to win on the road in the SEC. Arkansas is coming to Neyland Stadium. I thought that game should have been a 2-touchdown game. One was taken away by the shouldn't have been offensive pass interference. We gave up a touchdown by muffing a punt. That right there is, 2 touchdowns in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so I think we're better than a 2-touchdown team against Arkansas, so I'm going to buy that.
Yeah, I would too. The other area that I think is interesting, we'll keep it on the points. Are you going to buy or sell that Tennessee covers, or at least the game covers, 68 total points? So the Volunteers have scored at least 40 in all of their matchups. Yeah. The defense has at least given them a couple of points throughout the season. But does this game, is it a track meet?
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Just because Tennessee, I know what they're doing on the offensive end, and until I see us, stopping the run, I think we'll do better. But we're going to give up some plays. I'm going to buy the over. I think it will be a track meet in Neyland Stadium. I think that Tennessee will score early and Arkansas may respond. And you jump on live betting. I'm not an avid bettor or anything, but we'll see that total, I think, go above 68.
Yeah. Do you think that's because, when we mentioned in a couple of previous segments that it's a battle in the trenches, is it another strip sack by Tyree West and a scoop and score by Joshua Joseph? Do they need a defensive touchdown?
Yeah. So I think our offense answers, but it's so fun to see just defensive scores and those guys celebrate in the end zone. That's what you dream. And to see the defensive lineman get in the end zone, nothing better than that. So I hope he gets in the end zone again. And to celebrate.
Yeah. And where I think this game could maybe get a little out of hand is specifically in that first half. We mentioned, Bobby Petrino's team now feels like they've got nothing to lose. They're going to throw the kitchen sink. You've got all of the hype and the emotions, coming into this game. So I feel like the first half maybe is the half that carries the most points. So would you buy or sell that the first half total is 38.5 points?
Yeah, I'll buy the over. I think that there will be more than and two, watch out for trick plays. When you get in between the, our own 40 or their 40-yard line, right around the, midfield, the logo, they've got trick plays dialed up. I would say at least 2 or 3 that they've been practicing, especially during a bye week. So you talk about eye discipline, you talk about sticking to your assignment. It's going to be really important for our defense not to over pursue and to be exactly where they're supposed to be, rely on their technique and focus on whatever task they have, because they're going to have 2 or 3 trick plays dialed up, and hopefully they don't, score on one, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Yeah,
Heupel told me during the bye week they really, focused on gap integrity and then tackling. Is that the key to the game, truly feel like really getting to the nitty-gritty?
Yeah, I mean, it's right, blocking and tackling. It's very simple.
The fundamentals.
But the fundamentals. But I mean, tackling. We haven't been a great tackling team when it comes to stopping the run. I think the pass game's been great, and we haven't given up too many explosive pass plays. But we've got to stop arm tackling. When you tackle, they've got to feel it, right? You've got to be explosive. You got to run through players. And I want to see more forced fumbles. I know I keep saying that this season, but other than Arion Carter, I really don't see anybody just running through somebody. So I'm sure that's what they practice this bye week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you joining us for another week of Live Ball. What can we expect over at Merrill Lynch?
Well, hey, what you can expect is for us to continue being dialed in, to be there for our clients. And thankfully, a lot of our clients are UT fans. So we're all dialed in this weekend, and we're expecting a big victory. But ultimately, we're just blessed to work with great people and to be here in East Tennessee and do what we can for our clients.
Awesome. Thank you so much, TK.
Yeah, thank you, Paige.
When we come back, we'll hear from Jackson Fuller, IB reporter for the Arkansas Razorbacks. We'll have that coming right back.
I'm VFL Chris Brown. Experience the VW brand proudly being produced in the great state of Tennessee. Harper Volkswagen is a proud partner of Tennessee Athletics. Go Vols.
cutie. See ya.
Welcome to Live Ball, presented by Harper Volkswagen. Here are your hosts, Paige Dauer and Todd Kelly.
Welcome back into Live Ball. Paige Dauer now joined by Jackson Fuller, a beat reporter covering the Arkansas Razorbacks for the Southwest Times Record. Jackson, thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here, Paige. Always excited to talk some ball, so thanks for having me.
Yeah, and this one is a very intriguing matchup, and I think, for some aspects, maybe it's flying under the radar too much. I want to start with Taylen Green, right? I think week in and week out, the success of that team, I feel a lot of it goes through what he can do as a dual-threat quarterback. He's one of the best in the country, especially when he utilizes his legs. He's got more rushing yards than their starting running back in Mike Washington. When you watch those games, what do you find that allows him and that offense to be so successful?
Yeah, I mean, the offense, it starts and ends with Taylen. When he's successful, the offense is successful. When he struggles, then Arkansas struggles to put up points. And I think you've seen that in the second halves of a lot of their recent games where defenses have made adjustments coming out of halftime and stopped his legs. And it's had a negative impact on the Arkansas offense. I think he's so special because he can do it whether it's a designed run, whether it's a broken down play. He kind of can scramble for his life and then run 20 yards down the field if the defensive ends lose contain. He's a special player, but he really does have to find some consistency in the second half of these games. And I think a lot of credit goes to opposing defenses. They've gotten better at halftime, making adjustments, stopping the designed runs and forcing him to maybe be a little bit more creative or try to do too much. And that's kind of been something Bobby Petrino has been talking about. We have to make him more consistent after halftime on those designed runs.
Yeah, and before we get to Mike Washington, you mentioned a good point of, them being able to extend drives. And a lot of that time, I think his passing ability kind of flies under the radar. I know you guys are a little weaker in the wide receiver room because of late injuries, but he's been able to get it downfield when he needs to. If it wasn't for timely stops by the Fighting Irish, there were moments that he was able to get it downfield. How much of that do you think will be a factor for their success in this game against Tennessee?
Huge, because you look at Tennessee and they've had some struggles giving up explosive plays, and it's a lot easier to create explosive plays through the air than it is on the ground. Taylen has a knack for doing it on the ground, but you mentioned the receiver injuries and the top target, Omega Blake, still healthy, which I think is huge, and he's so good going across the middle of the field. But who's going to be that guy that steps up, and does Taylen have trust in them? I mean, last year, one of the things that kind of held Taylen back in his first year is he didn't really trust all the receivers. He kind of locked in on a guy named Andrew Armstrong. And there were times where the opposing defenses, if they took Andrew Armstrong away, they had success. So can Taylen, with the Jaylen Brown injury recently, who was really the number 2 receiver, can he find some trust in some of the younger guys? But he's so special throwing the deep ball, and he's gotten a lot more accurate in the short game, which has turned him into a very, very, one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC from my view.
Yeah, when we turn our attention back to Mike Washington, who maybe sometimes gets involved in the pass game as well, what I find to be so impressive about him, not only is he 6'2", almost 230 pounds, but he operates with a ton of patience. He waits for that hole to open up, at the line of scrimmage, or he is patient enough and he can bounce it to the outside. So, when we were talking earlier in the show, we were putting a ton of pressure on the edge rushers for Tennessee in this game. When you're watching him, what is his underrated factor that maybe is the true contributor to why he is one of the better running backs in the SEC?
You mentioned the two things, honestly, the vision and his ability to kind of get to the edge. When they run between the tackles, he does a great job of finding the hole, and whether that's turning 1 yard into 5 or 5 yards into 20, he's able to do that. But Arkansas, what they do so successfully on the ground is inside, quarterback zone read, and then all of a sudden they have a pitch play to the outside. And Washington is explosive enough to beat the fastest defensive players, get to the edge, and also have that vision, that patience to let his blockers get out in front of him. I think pretty much every game there's one toss play where he gets a huge gain. Sometimes it goes for a touchdown, sometimes it's just a 30-yard run, but it feels like every game there's one pitch outside where Mike has some space and creates a big gain. And I think they get that because of their commitment to running it inside.
Yeah, are you a fan of opponents giving each other bulletin material? He certainly has had a few viral comments. What is your take on him saying that maybe Tennessee has some holes to its defense and it could be a fun game?
Man, I'm a fan. You
Yeah.
know, I think it's good banter. It's why we love college football, for rivalries and the players taking the emotions of it all. I don't know. I might not have given bulletin board material as a 2-touchdown underdog on the road with an interim coach, but it's fun. It's fun for us, and it'll be something we get to talk about with the players after the game. Either way, right? Either
Yes.
he's proven or he's proven wrong, and it'll be good stuff after the game.
You mentioned the interim head coach now in Bobby Petrino. A lot of changes happening for the Arkansas Razorbacks after Sam Pittman was fired following that Notre Dame outing. Not only is he the interim head coach for Bobby Petrino, but he's made changes to the defense. There could be changes expected on offense. Like, what do we need to know maybe about like all of the changes that have happened over the last 2 weeks for the Razorbacks?
I think it's just a bunch of unknown, honestly. I think the offense is going to stay pretty similar to what it was. He was calling the plays, but he hinted that maybe there would be some personnel changes, but he didn't. He said, I don't want to give that information coming off a bye week. Maybe we can surprise Tennessee, which, fair enough. But defensively, we just don't know what this team is going to look like. Last year, they really started to hit their stride in that Tennessee game. I think a lot of people expected a high-scoring game in that one too. And they found this new 6 defensive back formation that they used later on against Texas. They used it in the bowl game. But obviously the coaches that came up with that are no longer here. I don't know what to expect. I think Arkansas is going to come out and play a little bit more simpler defensively, maybe not as many blitzes, try and drop guys back, maybe try and trust the pass rush. But the pass rush just hasn't been that great this year, so that's a risk in itself. I think the message from the coaching staff on defense is they need to tackle better, they need to be more disciplined, and they need to get to their spots and be aligned and know what is coming from a high-powered, fast-paced Tennessee offense.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point too, Jackson, because when I'm going back to thinking about Mike Washington's comments about, how he'll have fun in this game, I think more than that, I think it shows that despite all of the changes happening to Arkansas, that this appears and sounds to be a team that is still light, still has a ton of confidence to them, and the changes that have been happening to the team isn't something that's been a negative for them, because that's a lot to handle with all of the personnel changes. Maybe what Bobby Petrino will do, he was, the last head coach that had winning records with the Arkansas Razorbacks. So do you have that same vibe that this is still a very confident team that still has this game circled from last year, that they can come back and kind of do a similar thing to Tennessee?
I do. Now, let's see what happens Saturday night. If they get blown out again, that confidence might waver a bit. But I think the biggest example you can give to the mindset of this team or point to and say they still believe, nobody entered the transfer portal. And when a coach leaves in the middle of the season, these guys get 30 days. Of course, there's nowhere really for them to go, but they could prevent an injury, right? Or just start looking around. And no one's gone into the portal. So this team is sticking together. I think the fan base is behind Bobby Petrino in a lot of ways. They're excited to see what he can do. And I think that has kind of creeped into the locker room as well, where there's excitement, like maybe he does have this magic wand that no other coach has had since he left to fix the program. I'm not sure what I think about that. I'm ready to see. I'm ready to what's going to happen. It's such a, I know Tennessee, wants to get revenge, and there's a lot of good storylines over there, but from Arkansas, I'm so intrigued to see what's going to happen on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have Jackson Fuller here with us, the beat reporter covering the Arkansas Razorbacks for the Southwest Times Record. Before we let you go, what is the most intriguing aspect to this matchup that you think could lead to an Arkansas upset?
I think it's the run defense, and can they stop Tennessee on the ground and force them into 3rd and longs? Because for the most part, Arkansas has actually been okay on 3rd and long. The problem is they don't get themselves into that situation enough. They're playing too many 3rd and shorts. So, containing Deshaun Bishop and Star Thomas, who I think might be the best, 1-2 or the most complimentary punch in the SEC, get Tennessee to 3rd and long, and Arkansas might have a chance, but that's a lot easier said than done.
And I feel like a lot of this matchup is a lot easier said than done. I think it's a very intriguing one. And Jackson, I really appreciate your time, and best of luck covering the game this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you, Paige. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. All right, that was week 7 of live ball with myself and VFL Todd Kelly Jr. We'll have so much more on this matchup between the Razorbacks and the Tennessee Volunteers following that game on Saturday, and then more post-game reports on Sunday. And then before you know it, we're back here getting ready for that Alabama-Tennessee game. We'll see you guys back here next week.
Jr. Welcome to Live Ball, presented by Harper Volkswagen. Here are your hosts, Paige Dauer and Todd Kelly Jr.
Tennessee Athletics, go Vols.
Business can't afford the downtime that comes with a leaky roof. So whether you need a repair or a replacement, count on the professionals from McGuire Roofing and Construction. Your protection is our passion. We service and sell all types of roofs and have worked with some of East Tennessee's most recognized names. We have 25 years of experience and free inspection estimates, plus best in business warranties. Put an end to your roofing problems today by calling McGuire Roofing and Construction.